Welcome to this episode of CynSpeaks. In this episode, we're going to talk about balancing the ego and heart and self-love. So we're going to talk about self-love, which is so extremely important and pretty challenging in today's society with social media. So learning to self-love is not something that we are programmed to do. Society actually makes us doubt ourselves more, and this is more relevant now that we have social media. And oftentimes we compare our entire life to the highlight reel of somebody else's life. If you look through somebody's social media page, you're going to see the best of the best. You're going to see their life with filters. You're going to see the parts of their reality that they want you to see. You're not going to see the entire reality for the most part. You're not going to see the challenges. So it's unfair for you to compare your entire life to somebody's top 5% of theirs. It's not fair to you. For me, taking a break from social media is something that I do pretty regularly, and I had to do significantly as I was forced to go through some major healing and a major transformation in my life that I didn't expect or plan for, but that I greatly needed. And part of that process for me was deleting my Facebook app from my phone. I didn't delete the profile, but I deleted my app because I found myself not only wasting a ton of time looking at everybody else's worlds and trying to stay up to date with regards to what was going on with them, I was also looking at how full others' lives looked and almost looking at my own life like it wasn't enough. And that's not healthy, and it didn't feel good. So I had to pretty much change what I was doing because it wasn't working for me. And that looked like just deleting the app. I left my profile because, I do have a lot of family on there. So if they needed to contact me, that would be their way of doing it for some of them. And I would check it, periodically sometimes. And that was pretty much it. I kept Instagram. I like Instagram. I follow a lot of artists, music artists, visual artists. And that's also my way to stay in the loop as far as the news. But I found myself even on Instagram deleting and unfollowing a lot of people because of the negativity. Like there was so much negative news, negative information, and I just have no desire to be looped into any of that because it lowers my vibration. And I don't have the desire to do that anymore. And that only came through learning how to self-love. Now, regardless of where you're at in your life right now, you can work on this and you can focus on this, and you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to spend time improving you because that will improve everything around you. The first thing after, deleting my social media was learning to ignore the voice that was unkind. You have two voices, and they may be perceived differently for different people, but on TV and in movies, you'll see the little devil and angel, right? And that typically, from what I understood, was to represent the devil and the angel spirits that you can choose to follow, which now I see that completely different. But there are voices that will talk to you. There are voices that will insert thoughts into your mind, and some of those thoughts are kind and some of those thoughts are unkind. And those thoughts aren't always just about other people, but oftentimes those thoughts have to do with you, and we don't even realize that those thoughts are coming into our head. And we have both inside of us. So you have a voice that's going to tell you all the mean things about yourself. You're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too ugly, your hair's not long enough, your hair's too long. Like, you don't have enough money, you're not good enough for that man, you're not good enough for that woman. That is the mean voice. Like, that is the voice you don't want to listen to. Now, initially, you're going to have these thoughts. Like, these things come into our head and we don't even realize that it's happening. But what you can do is just pretty much treat them as stray thoughts. Like, don't give them a home. They don't need a home. Don't welcome them to stay. Let them pass through. And as Abraham Hicks highlights in the teachings, like 17 seconds, there's a 17-second rule. So if you allow something to stay for 17 seconds in your vibration, it will manifest. So if you think about that, a thought that comes into your head, if you just let it pass through, don't give it a home, don't let it stay, you can let it pass through and don't attach yourself to it. As you start to do that, you'll see that those thoughts will come less and less. And that's a huge step to learning how to love yourself, is only accepting and attaching yourself to the thoughts that feel good and serve and uplift and help and guide you. Do not attach yourself to the thoughts that harm you. Harm your heart, harm your ego even. Like, don't attach yourself to any thoughts that hurt. Also, it's so important to release self-judgment, and they kind of go hand in hand, but you may have beliefs about yourself that aren't true. And those beliefs could be self-limiting. They could be holding you back from so many things because you've always believed them. And that's so sad because they're not true. So many times they're not true. So releasing any judgment of self, any times you have judged yourself, like, forgive yourself. We talk about forgiving others. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for making a wrong decision in your eyes. Forgive yourself for picking somebody that hurt you. Forgive yourself for forgiving them and allowing them to come back and hurt you again. Like, forgive yourself for all of those things. That's hard to think about and not often discussed, but you have to forgive yourself. You must forgive yourself. Cut yourself a break. If I have somebody near me that says something mean about themselves, if they say a word, "Oh, I look so fat in this," I will turn around and say, "Hey, be nice to my friend. Nobody talks about my friend like that." Immediately, I defend them. I defend my friend from themselves. And if you think about that, like, we are quick to save others and to stand up for others, but you also should stand up for yourself, to yourself, and look within and think about what's real anyway, because most of those self-limiting thoughts aren't even real. Also, it's so important to learn to set boundaries and live life for yourself. I talk about boundaries a lot because they've helped me so much, but learning to live life for you and do what you want and do what makes you happy will teach you how to love yourself. If you have a hobby, do it. Spend time doing that. That doesn't mean neglect your responsibilities or anything along those lines. You guys know better. I'm not going to tell you that, but like, do more of what makes you feel good. Spend more time with yourself. Like, spend time alone. That feels so good, to just be alone and learn to be alone. Even if you're in a relationship, taking time to be by yourself, whether that be to meditate or to watch a movie by yourself, to go eat dinner by yourself from time to time, learning to be your own best friend will help you learn to love you. It's so important. Self-love is definitely the best love. And in order to be any good for anybody else, you have to learn how to love you first. I cannot stress that enough. You are no good to anybody else if you are empty within. You cannot love on other people, genuinely love on them, and selflessly love on them if you are not full first. So make sure that you're taking care of you first and then taking care of everybody else. If there's a person in your life that's thrown you overboard or kicked you while you were down, I guess, like over and over and over again, release that person and release your attachment to that person, and then forgive yourself for letting them do that to you. Like, you need to worry about you first. Please do that. And if you can't find it within you to do it for you, do it for the ones you love. And that's an insane concept too, the fact that it's hard for us to find it within ourselves to take the time to love on ourselves. That is crazy. Like, we'll do it for other people, right? We'll jump and help other people. But when it's ourselves, right, we just let it go, or we don't take it as important. That's crazy. It's so important to take care of you. And know that there are others like you, especially my empaths out there, that have a hard time with things like saying no, or even setting energetic boundaries with people. If somebody calls you to vent, right? Like, it's okay to be like, listen, I don't have the space to hold space for you right now. Like, that's a huge statement. Or when you call somebody to vent, maybe ask them, hey, can you hold space for me right now? And sometimes the person won't be able to hold space for you because they're going through their own things. But that's huge. That's such respect to ask somebody, hey, can you hold space for me? Like, I need to vent. And then also the ability to say, if you can't hold space, be like, I just can't right now. Like, I'm dealing with my own stuff. Like, I'm so sorry I can't hold space, but I'll let you know the second I can, right? Or I just don't know when I can. I don't know when I can hold space. Like, I'm dealing with some stuff. And most of your friends, they're going to turn around and be like, oh my gosh, what happened? Are you okay? Right? They're going to be there for you. So learning to set those boundaries, even on an energetic and an emotional level, to protect you and your ability to self-love is so huge. This is a topic I'm sure we will revisit again, but balancing that ego and heart in the self-love and not letting your ego block you from loving on you, right? Releasing that judgment or that ego that's been used against you. Like, your own ego can work to harm you. Releasing all of those things, releasing the judgment, ignoring that voice that is unkind, and only allowing and accepting the thoughts that feel good and that are good and kind. That's going to set you on a different path for self-love. And then you'll also see that your relationships with other people will also grow. So keep that in mind. As always, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you subscribe, share, comment, like, all the things. And follow me on Instagram at Cynamon Voe, #CynSpeaks, either one. Tag me in all the things that you guys post so that I can stay in the loop and comment and share love. Again, until next time.